Bonner battling with Hull. Bonner turns, fades, fires, and leaves it way short. Great defense there by Hull. Copper tracks it down and bounces for Bonner, who had her shot blocks. And it's a shot clock violation. Bonner walled off by Hull, and then blocked at the rim. Indiana has that 5-point lead mid-third.
It wasn't just a basketball game. It was a reckoning. The moment DeWanna Bonner stepped onto the Indiana court, the crowd erupted, but not in cheers. It was a thunderstorm of boos, cold, bitter, unforgiving. Like Indiana fans had been waiting for this exact moment, and they came loaded with receipts. And then, Caitlin Clark showed up, silent, focused, ruthless. She didn't need to talk trash. She didn't throw shade in interviews. She just let her game do the talking, and what it said was savage. While Bonner shrank into the shadows of her past decisions, Clark turned the court into a courtroom and delivered the verdict. No mercy, no forgiveness, just pure, calculated revenge. You want to know what happens when you walk out on a team midseason, then come back like nothing ever happened? Indiana answers. Caitlin Clark executes. And the WNBA felt every bit of it. From the moment DeWanna Bonner's name was announced in the starting lineup, Gainbridge Fieldhouse turned into a sound chamber of vengeance. This wasn't casual booing. This wasn't polite disapproval. This was deep-rooted, blood-boiling, fan-fed fury. The kind of animosity that had been simmering since the day Bonner left Indiana behind like a half-read chapter and came back expecting applause. The Indiana crowd didn't forget, and they sure as hell didn't forgive. Bonner's exit from the franchise may have been business on paper, but to the fans, it was betrayal. She wasn't just a player. They saw her as part of their DNA. And walking away midseason, that's not just disloyal. It's personal. So when she returned wearing the enemy's jersey, every dribble she took was met with an avalanche of boos that shook the hardwood. And here's the thing. Bonner heard it. You could see it in her face. She tried to keep her poker face strong, but that roar from the crowd, it cracked through. Every missed shot, every awkward possession, it felt like the crowd was inside her head. This wasn't just home court advantage. It was psychological warfare. And the Indiana faithful were firing on all cylinders. What made it worse? Caitlin Clark didn't say a single word. She didn't look at Bonner, didn't flinch, didn't even acknowledge her. She just played, cold-blooded, methodical. And every time she scored, the fans roared louder, not just for the bucket, but for the message. This is what you walked away from. This is what you gave up. It was the kind of night where legends are buried and new ones are born. And Bonner? She wasn't ready for the smoke. There was a time when DeWanna Bonner was the face of Indiana basketball. A walking bucket, a locker room leader, the one the team could count on when everything else fell apart. Fans wore her jersey with pride, kids mimicked her fadeaway in their driveways, and Indiana believed, truly believed, that she was in it for the long haul. That's what hurt the most. Because when Bonner left, she didn't just exit a team. She abandoned a belief system. A system that had been built around her, marketed around her, trusted her. And just when the Fever were trying to turn a corner, just when hope was peeking through the clouds, she dipped. No farewell. No fight. Just a clean break and a new jersey. That's why the boos weren't just noise. They were a reckoning. Indiana fans weren't just reacting to a player changing teams. They were confronting the ghost of what could have been. The hero they once celebrated had become the villain in her own redemption arc. And in this building, villains don't get standing ovations. They get exposed. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was the new chapter. The future. The lightning rod for everything Bonner used to be. And when Bonner walked back into the spotlight she once owned, she realized that spotlight had already moved on. And the fans? They were done reminiscing. They wanted payback. On this night, Bonner wasn't facing just 5 defenders. She was facing 17,000 betrayed hearts, and every single one of them wanted her legacy erased. From the opening tip, it was clear. Caitlin Clark wasn't here to entertain. She wasn't here to make headlines. She was here to hurt feelings. No screaming. No antics, just straight-up execution. That's what made it so dangerous. Clark didn't bark. She hunted. The moment she touched the ball, the entire arena leaned forward like they were bracing for a detonation. And boom. First possession, high screen, she snakes through the defense, plants her feet, and bang, deep 3. Cold, clean, cashed it like she was mailing a statement, and the look she gave afterward? Stone cold. No celebration, just a glance. A glance that said, "You remember why I'm here now?" It didn't stop there. Every time Bonner was on the floor, Clark hunted matchups like a lion circling the slowest gazelle. She didn't just score. She targeted, pushed the pace when Bonner was late on rotations, exploited her off ball, found her slipping and made her pay. You could feel it. This wasn't just basketball. This was personal. And while the cameras kept cutting to Bonner's expressionless face, you could see the truth in her eyes. Regret. Discomfort. Like she realized she wasn't just playing Clark, she was playing against the anger of an entire fan base she helped create and then betrayed. And Clark? She kept her foot on the gas, dishing dimes, controlling tempo, and burying momentum every time the Sun tried to breathe. By halftime, the scoreboard was telling the story, but the body language was screaming it louder. Clark was on a mission. And Bonner? She wasn't just losing the game, she was losing the narrative. Let's be real. This wasn't just Caitlin Clark going nuclear. This was Coach Stephanie White flipping the entire chessboard while everyone else was still deciding who gets white pieces. She didn't just prepare for this game. She orchestrated it. Every possession, every rotation, every defensive trap, it was personal. It was poetic. It was premeditated. From the jump, White baited Bonner into becoming the focal point. Not in a good way. No, in the let her isolate and expose herself kind of way. Every time Bonner tried to find her rhythm, Indiana threw the kitchen sink at her. Stunts, doubles, hard hedges, and just the right amount of physicality to make every touch feel like a war. It wasn't about stopping Bonner. It was about reminding her, you don't run this house anymore. And the offensive plan? Surgical. White unleashed a spread attack that put Connecticut's aging legs in a blender. High pick and rolls with Clark reading two defenders like open books. Alyssa Thomas getting pulled out of the paint, Nalissa Smith slicing off ball, shooters spotted like snipers. This wasn't run and gun. This was run and bury. And guess who was always the target on those screens? DeWanna Bonner. Over and over. Exhaust her. Expose her. Eliminate her. White knew what Bonner's pride would force her to do. Try to prove a point. But instead of making a statement, Bonner got trapped in a defensive torture chamber, while Clark and crew ran circles around her. That's the genius of Stephanie White. She didn't just want to win the game. She wanted to turn Bonner's homecoming into a public trial. And when the fourth quarter came around, with the fever up and the crowd on fire, Coach White wasn't even animated. She just folded her arms and watched, like a woman who already saw this ending in her head. Bonner wasn't just outcoached. She was outplayed by her own past. By the time the dust started settling in the third quarter, something wild was happening. Caitlin Clark wasn't just surviving the madness, she was thriving in it. The booze, the bumping, the sneaky cheap shots behind the play, that was just background music to her masterpiece. There's a certain kind of athlete that doesn't flinch when the world turns hostile. They don't fold, they compose. And Caitlin Clark? She was painting. Step-back threes with a hand in her face. Cross-court lasers off one foot. Drawing defenders like moths to a flame just to whip it to a wide-open teammate. She wasn't forcing anything. She was manipulating everything. It wasn't just the buckets, though those were filthy. It was her command. She'd get blitzed off a pick, pivot out with the calm of a 10-year vet, then find the mismatch like she had a third eye. When the Sun tried to trap her near the half-court line, she'd split the double, hit the gas, and collapse the defense like a damn black hole. You could almost hear the Connecticut bench go, "How the hell do we stop this?" And the crowd? Oh, they flipped. They weren't just cheering her anymore. They were feeding off her chaos. Every Clark assist was a middle finger to the haters. Every deep three was a dagger into the she's overrated crowd. Every smirk she gave after an N1, that was art. Disrespect turned into dominance. Hate turned into highlights. In the most hostile environment of her rookie year, Caitlin Clark took all the noise, the booze, the expectations, the venom, and turned it into a symphony. Not everyone's built for the storm. Some are the damn storm. As the final seconds ticked off the clock, the arena didn't feel like just another WNBA game. It felt like the passing of a torch, whether the veterans liked it or not. On one side, you had the old guard, DeWanna Bonner, Alyssa Thomas, and the Connecticut Sun, battle-tested, bruising, and built on experience. On the other, Caitlin Clark, the rookie, the disruptor, the future. And here's the thing. The future didn't wait for permission. It kicked the door down. Bonner, the veteran warrior who had tried everything, muscle, mind games, momentum, looked absolutely drained. Her expression? A mix of confusion and realization. Like she'd just witnessed the game shift in front of her eyes. And she had. What she and the Sun built with physicality and grit had been undone by spacing, speed, and surgical precision. Clark didn't just beat them. She rewrote the terms of engagement. Alyssa Thomas? She walked off with her usual stoicism, but even that couldn't mask the cracks. For all her power and hustle, her style suddenly looked like a relic against Clark's range and vision, like watching a tank try to chase a drone. It wasn't a fair fight. It was evolution in real time. The Indiana Fever? They didn't just win. They announced something. This wasn't a lucky night or a hot streak. This was a statement game. And Caitlin Clark? She didn't just embarrass a top seed team. She symbolically closed the chapter on how things used to work in the W. The league isn't just changing. It already changed. And for the fans still booing, for the old heads clinging to tradition, this game was their wake-up call. The future has arrived, and she wears number 22. This wasn't just a statement win. It was a power shift, a full-on seismic, league-rattling moment where the old guard blinked, and the new face of the WNBA lit up the scoreboard with a smirk. Caitlin Clark isn't just coming anymore. She's here. She's the now, and every boo, every hard foul, every doubt fueled her. Bonner didn't just lose the game. She lost the crowd. She lost the moment, and she lost the spotlight she thought belonged to her. And Caitlin Clark? She never forgets. If you think Caitlin Clark just made her boldest WNBA statement yet, drop A in the comments and let the league know. The future is done waiting.